All right, good evening and welcome to Tuesday night, the final one for the year. Welcome to Mate at 8. For those who've never joined us before, my name is Turts. I'm one of the proud co-founders of a men's organisation, health organisation called 100 Words Mate to Mate. Now, at 100 Words Mate to Mate, all we're trying to do is raise awareness and reduce the stigma about men's mental health in this country. The stats are horrendous in this country right now. Every day, 7 men take their own life in this country. And the biggest killer of men in Australia between the age of 15 and 44 is themselves. It's an horrendous figure and a horrendous stat. I say it every week, but it's really, really bad, and we need to do more about it. So what we try and do here at 100 Words Mate to Mate is that we try to encourage conversation between two men. Now, normally when you greet someone, you say, "G'day, mate, how you going?" He says, "Good." You say, "Oh, yeah, that's good." He says, "How are you?" "Yeah, good." And you know nothing about them. So we started a campaign 31 weeks ago, okay, called Mate to Mate at 8, and how's your day out of 10? So when you come on, and those who have been with us most weeks know what to do, fill out the poll. We want to know how your day is out of 10. So jump on the poll, fill that out. We'll go through those results a little bit later on. Now, all we're trying to do here tonight is mirror a conversation between two mates. So all you have to do is ring your mate and say this: "G'day, mate, how's your day been out of 10? Or how's your week been out of 10? Okay, and that'll start a conversation, okay? So we've got guys on who are a 10, we've got guys at 9s, 8s, 7s, 6s, 5s, and we've also got a couple of people there that are 2. Those people that are a 2, go grab yourself a pen, okay, and write this number down: 0412 310 788. That's my number. Okay, so after the show, I want you to give me a call. Okay, all right, and we'll have a chat and talk about why you're a 2. Okay, for everyone else there, I hope after this conversation today, and just a recap of everything we've gone through this year, you'll be feeling better. Now, if at any stage tonight the conversation gets a little bit too heavy, I don't think it will tonight, but if it does, there's always a number to call. That number is 131114. Okay, there's always someone. That number is for Lifeline. There is always someone there to take your call. Now, as I say every week, and those who have watched will realise I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist. Okay, all we are trying to do here, 100 Words Mate to Mate, is show you how easy it is to have a conversation with your mates that starts simply like this: "G'day, mate. How's your day out of 10? Okay, you'll learn a lot more about your mates. So now tonight's all about recapping, okay, and go through all the highs and lows and what we learned this year, interviewing 30 different men. Now, this does not happen just with me and my ugly mug on this screen, okay? So I'm going to introduce you to the man who makes all the magic happen. He's a dear friend of mine. He goes by the name of Walts, Matt Walton, who is a board member at 100 Words, who does a huge amount, and he makes all of this happen because I've got no idea. He's the great man. Big round of applause for Waltsy. Hello, mate. How's your day out of 10?
Good, mate. Good. I would say an 8 tonight. So I think obviously it's a little bit sad that this is probably our last Tuesday that we're doing this for a while, but it's been a long journey. But so yeah, it's double-edged sword tonight. Bit sad we're finishing, but bit happy we can finish on a high note. What about you? How's your day out of 10?
Mate, I've had a great day today. Everything just worked today. It was great, and I knew we were doing tonight. Had a couple of really good phone calls today as well that went really, really well. So, mate, I've been looking forward. As you say, tinge of sadness that what are we going to do on a Tuesday night? I'll just watch reruns, I suppose.
That's right. I know our wives won't know what to do with themselves if we actually have to spend some time with them on a Tuesday night.
I know my wife, fair to say, is keen to get me back on a Tuesday night. So, mate, who would have thought over 30 weeks ago when you and I were just having a coffee and we said, you know what, because of COVID, let's do something. You know, we used to having events and getting, 150, 200 people in a room. We can't do that anymore. So how are we going to connect with our members and how are we going to stay relevant? And we had a coffee and we came up with, why don't we just interview some people and be open, honest, and real. And that was sort of the preface behind the whole thing, wasn't it?
Well, that's right. I think it's been fantastic. We've been able to stay connecting with some of the members. We've met some new great people, which we'll talk about in a minute. And we've connected with people and given some people something to log into every Tuesday night or logging in later on YouTube, just to make sure that mental health is still being discussed. So I've actually got some stats, Turts. So have a look at this. We've done 30 webinars every week for the last week. Had 640 attendees. They've averaged the sessions have gone from 26 minutes. The longest one's over 80 minutes.
That's my fault.
That's right. We've had 1,036 views on YouTube, and over 2,000 minutes of content that we've recorded over the period. That's now up and available on our YouTube channel. And we were chatting the other day about the types of people we've had on. Let's list that. We've had several AFL footballers with numerous awards in all of that. We've had AFL coaches and AFLW coaches. We've had Olympic basketballers. We've had Melbourne Cup winning jockeys. We've had tennis stars. We've had auctioneers. We've had a couple of those. Real estate leaders. We've had a policeman, an AMBO, an ex-army person, a crisis manager, a couple of psychologists, and many more, and a chippy, and of course, a painter, most importantly.
We have, mate. When we started, we just like, we'll just ring people we know, and inevitably what seemed to happen towards sort of from about halfway is people going, hey, give this guy a call. He'd love to come on, and he's watched the show, and that was really comforting, wasn't it? To have people ring us and say, hey, can I come on? And we're like, yeah, that'd be great. It was awesome.
That's right, and I think the best bit for me is it's all sorts of people. Like it's your everyday blokes, but all of them really happy to open up and talk about mental health and talk about just connecting with mates and how they support their mates and their own stories and journeys, which has been all very different. Some very personal and deep and raw, which we've heard, and obviously got emotional at times. Others which is a bit more lighthearted and fun. Absolutely.
And look, from the top, we only had one guy who said he couldn't, said he'd do it, and then he had to pull out. And that was fine. He said, look, I'm just not quite ready. Everyone else, was so accommodating with their time. No one, I want to mention this, no one got $1. Everyone just donated their time and wanted to do it. And quite often, what we do, Waltsy and I would run a pre-interview that would generally go for about an hour and a half, just to find out how far we could go with each individual, because we never wanted to put them on the spot on a live webinar and have them say, oh, I don't really want to talk about that. Right? So we always gave them plenty of knowledge of what we're going to talk about. But inevitably, every week, once they had said something, the following night, they would just say more. And then they would ring up the next day or that night and go, I had no intentions of going there, but I did because I felt comfortable. And I think that was a huge win for us. I think that was when that started happening, that was like, okay, we're on a good thing here. And guys are just feeling comfortable enough to talk. And it was very much, because it's a webinar, it's like I am now, just talking to you. And it just happened organically, didn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And we've already got a question, Turts. And just for those listening, feel free to keep asking the questions throughout the session, and we'll get Turts to answer. But one of them from the McMahons, who very loyal watchers, on a regular occurrence. Turts, will you keep doing webinars in future? It's great connecting if you can't catch up in person. We haven't really decided this, have you? But what do you think, Turts?
Oh, mate, I loved every Tuesday was the highlight of the week for me. I absolutely loved it. Clearly, I'm not a journalist's bum, but I really love doing the research and talking to people and just having them tell us their story was so empowering. We met every person we met every week. I would write notes about how inspiring they were. And just, I don't know, but I know we've spoken about this. We picked up something every week, didn't we? Every week.
Yeah, that's right. And they're all different journeys. And yeah, I think what I found is it was obviously great for us and great for people listening, but we actually found a lot of people got a lot out of it themselves, and it helped them by coming on and sharing and telling their story. It really helped them open up. So I was going to ask you, Turts, out of all the 30 weeks, who did you see the biggest change in, or what was one of the sort of key people you thought was an inspiring story? And we'll list a few of these, but yeah.
Yeah, probably the biggest change for me was probably Ed Smythe. Like watching Ed go through what he went through. Like he sent us a video and we interviewed him 10 weeks later. So for him, it was almost textbook for us, and I mean that in the nicest possible way. The story with Ed is Ed knew one of our other members, Dave Holmes, who's an absolute star. And all credit for this goes to Dave. Ed sat down with Dave and, they're having a conversation. Dave says to Ed, how you going out of 10? And Ed goes, 6. He goes, okay. Anyway, Ed rings him the next day and says, hey, mate, I just want to say I wasn't a 6 yesterday. I was a 2. So it opened up this conversation between the two boys. Dave says to him, I want you to watch this show. It's out of Melbourne, but I want you to watch it. And when he filled out the poll, just like someone did before, he put in a 2. And I did what I did. I gave the number. And he rang me the next day and told me how bad he was going. We interviewed him 10 weeks later, and I think we've got a video there, haven't we?
Yeah, that's right. Ed, if you give us a second, Ed graciously sent in a letter message. So we've got a few of these, but I'll just pop this one up tonight. I'll just pop Ed up on the screen if that's all right with everyone. All right, you ready? Can you see that? I'll just share a little video of Ed.
Hey, my name's Edward Smith, and I just want to send a little message or make a video note, I guess, about Mate to Mate and how it all came about. So a friend of mine's, David Holmes, my auctioneer, could tell there was something off with me, and there's been something off for a little while, so he asked me to watch a video on Mate to Mate at 8, which I did, because I told him I was a 6 out of 10, but I probably wasn't really telling the truth. I was actually a 2. When I watched the video, I put a 2 in the poll, and then Turts got in touch with me almost immediately, and reached out and just asked me how I was doing out of 10, and I was able to kind of, own up a little bit that I was struggling, and that kind of prompted a bit of a change. So much so that a couple of months later I was actually videoed by Turts. I've seen a dramatic turnaround in my life. I was struggling with anxiety and alcoholism, and I smoked over a pack of cigarettes today. Today I don't smoke, I don't drink. I moved back in with my girlfriend. We've got some exciting changes on the way. I'm about to open up my own independent real estate agency. My little dog's pretty happy, as you can see. Ruby, come here. And just wanted to say a thank you, I guess, to the guys, and just a note that you've made a huge difference in my life. Walty as well, I got the opportunity to meet. Great bloke. Turts, just a selfless, good man, which in amongst all this coronavirus nonsense, it's been really, really nice to see. So I just want you guys to know that if there's anything I can ever do to help you, in respect of you helping me, then I'm always here for you. And sincere thank you.
Yeah,
it's a good story, isn't it? And
it is, and it gets me just watching that. To see a guy who was really, really down, like he was suicidal. His partner had kicked him out. He was, alcoholic. As he said, smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. To send a video down to someone like me who he doesn't know, and then for just us to talk and to interview him 10 weeks later and to see how he's doing now, it's just indicative of someone opening up and just wanting to be heard. And we were able to listen, and that's essentially all we did. I would check in with him every few days at first, but he took ownership. He put his hand up and he took ownership of where he was headed, and it was looking pretty bad there at one stage. But all credit to him. He's an amazing man, He said, I know he's had a huge impact on some of our other people who watch every week. So,
yeah, and I think that point at the end, I think he's now willing to help others, and he has done to some of the other people in our network, and I think that's the really exciting thing for me around. We're just building that 100 words mate to mate network and of blokes that are happy to help each other and reach out and inspire each other with these stories. So obviously Ed's not the only one. There's a few others that we'll talk about tonight, and you've heard them throughout the weeks as well. Now Turts, I've a lot of people have been talking about how emotional you get through a few interviews. So as you said, I don't think there'll be too many tears tonight. I don't think, but tell us about what were probably the most emotional interviews that you went through? I know last week was one, but
yeah, I mean Ed was really emotional for me, having seen his journey and watching the video, and I was the only one that he sent the video to. So when he said, "I'll come on," but one of the prerequisites for coming on is I want you to show that video. I'm like, "Man, it's your video, so let's do that." One of the early ones, Cam Hardiman, who was a policeman who finished up after 35 years, had PTSD. I got introduced to him through a mate of mine. We met down at Coles Local through COVID-1 and just cut laps of Coles Local. And I've never been more intrigued by a man who I've only known for a very short period of time. He was unbelievable. He suffers so badly from PTSD, and he gave me his book. And mate, I haven't read a book from cover to cover, embarrassingly so, since year 12, which is a bloody long time ago. I could not put this thing down. I read it and read it and read it, got it done in 5 nights, then interviewed him. And I was really emotional by how far a man who put his life on the line each and every day, what he saw as a young constable at the age of 19. He went to an event a situation in Preston where an old guy had blown his head off and committed suicide, and he had to tell the poor wife what had happened. And there's about 15 stories in the book, or probably more actually, and every one of them I just thought, oh my God, how would I cope in that situation? And his coping mechanism was just to have a few beers with the rest of the boys at the end of the week. And the police force, to its credit, has come such a long way since. But what he did for the community is nothing short of inspirational. He's an amazing man, and to get to know him a little bit off this has been great. He's an incredible human. So he was one that really got me early days. My friend Dan Chiani, who suffered from testicular cancer. So whenever a mate of yours is going through shit like that, it's really, really hard to watch him. But it was amazing to see his family and all his mates rally around him. That was incredible. They're an amazing family, the Chiani clan, and they all got around each other and helped Dan through, and they still help Dan today. Like as he said, it doesn't suddenly just stop. It's constant support, and what people did for him and his kids were, I think he told the story that every morning there'd be a loaf of bread. He's got 3 kids, so there'd be a loaf of bread and either 3 donuts, 3 lamingtons, or something. And that was someone's way of communicating with Dan and his family, saying, I don't know what else I can do, but every morning I can drop off a loaf of bread because you need to make sandwiches, and the kids have all got something in their lunch. He still to this day does not know who that person is. And I get emotional talking about that story because I just think it shows not everyone, people find it hard to communicate in that situation, but that person thought, you know what I can do? I can go and get a loaf of bread every morning, and I can go and get 3 donuts for the kids. And that was a way of which communicating. And I just think that story is so powerful, and he's an amazing man. So that was another one. Mate, Mark Worthington's story still blows me away. Mark Worthington should not be here. We'll probably talk about that a bit later on. And Ash. What he did last week, for those who haven't, Ash won't mind me saying this. Ash tried to take his own. He's a 19-year-old kid who tried to take his own life 11 weeks ago. And he got told to watch the show, and he watched every week, and he asked questions of everyone that came on, question after question after question. And he learned so much in such a short period of time. He's got an amazing mentor, Don Payton, who is he's one of the greatest human beings I've ever come across. And with the support of Don particularly, and Don's workmate, and James, and the girls in there, and all his workmates, and we played a small part, and his parents and Chelsea. If you've got a spare hour, because it was the longest one we did because Ash and I spoke for over an hour last week. It's an incredible story. If you get a chance to watch it, do yourself a favour and watch that one. That was really inspirational, and that clearly, as it shows, got me. It still does. I'm really proud of him.
And there's a few messages about Ash and from his family as well. I hope they don't mind me saying, but yeah, they've sent a message saying, obviously, thanks for having Ash on, but really they were saying that, watching him open up, was quite new to them and raw to them, and really hearing Ash say it firsthand. So, that really opened them up, crying, and even though they were hesitant to watch, they watched, and, they both had a good cry, and it was a bit of relief for them as well. So I'm glad we could help, but I think, to be honest, I think Ash and you guys and the support you've given this has helped us more than we've helped you, I think. So, and all the others listening. It's just an inspiring story.
Exactly right, Walts. I think what someone like Ash does at 19, who watches the show and learns from other people and other men who have opened up, and that's credit to all those guys who did that. It just opened up, and that gave Ash some real comfort to know that he doesn't need to get all his shit together at 19. Like these guys, we had guys on, leaders of industry and all sorts of guys, Andy Miller and Anthony Rocket, a whole lot of guys that are still going through stuff now. And I think that was comforting for Ash to go, you know what, I've just got to slow down. And you do, mate. I know you're listening. You just got to slow down, okay? Just slow down, take your time, and things will happen. But, mate, it was, they're the ones that probably got me the most. The Mark Worthington one, in regards to impact, that's probably the one that's the hardest to listen to again. Like, I go back for those who don't know, every Tuesday night after I do the show, make some notes, talk to Waltsy, and I normally pour myself a glass of red, although I haven't over the last 9 weeks because I've been off it, and just watch it. And that was the hardest one to watch. Mark Worthington tells, he's really, really struggling with depression and his mental health, and he drives to the cliff between, there's a cliff face right between Port Douglas and Palm Cove. Now, I've actually driven that road. I know you have too, Walter. You've driven that road, so you know the situation. And he's just parked the car there. He's about 40 metres from the edge, and he's about to just whack it in drive and just drive off the cliff and end it. And of all things, the phone rings. And he looks at the phone, and it was a guy who he hadn't spoken to he just quickly goes, shit, I haven't spoken to him for like 10 or 12 years. I wonder what he wants. And he answers it. And the guy at the other end goes, hey, Wertho, I know I haven't spoken to you for ages, but I just had a gut feeling that I should ring you. Are you okay? And Wertho breaks into tears and says, thank fuck you rang me. I'm 40 metres from driving off a cliff. And the guy just says, oh, get out of the car and shut the door and just talk to him. And that's all he needed. And I remember saying to him, if that had been a close, a mate you spoke to yesterday or a family member, would you have picked up the phone? And he said, no. So the odds on that happening, it's just not in your favour. Like they're a billion plus to one that someone would ring at that point in time. So the biggest thing I got out of that is how powerful a conversation is and how powerful a phone call is to your mate, just to ask, just to check in. If you've got a gut feeling, you have to act on that gut. Mark Worthington should not be here. He shouldn't be. But he is. And he gives back constantly. He rings Ash every couple of weeks just to check in on Ash, to see how Ash is going. And I know he's rung other guys, and I know other guys have rung him. That story is that's hard to watch and hard to listen to. It's hard to talk about. It really is. That's
and it's just serendipitous timing and really a great reminder about the whole point of mate to mate. Just saying, I think for me, that's type of story's been helpful to just remind to say, even, you know, we're all time poor and, you know, but even just taking that couple of minutes just on the off chance that your mate needs you at that time and struggling is really the core of our message, isn't it, about this? It's just like, call a mate. You might not have all the answers or be able to help, but, you know, if there's 1 in a million chance that, you know, your mate's struggling, needs your help, just give a call and ask, and you never know. So I think for me, that sort of story is a great reminder of this.
How did that one affect you? I know every Tuesday night that we would talk, I remember that was the one that got you, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, that's right. And just being able to put yourself in someone else's shoes, like Mark, and I've luckily never been in that position myself, but being able to empathise with someone in that position and really think about, all right, well, there's lots of people out there going through that right now, and all they need is someone to call them. So for me, it's empowering to say we can help, you know. So I think that was the key for me.
And not that we needed much of a driver to be able to ring guys and ask them how their day is out of 10. But fair to say that week, I didn't paint a lot, but shit, I made some phone calls. And I go back to that a lot. It's amazing how often you can make a call or just send a text. I do it a lot. I just send a text to like first 10 guys in my phone. How's your day out of 10? Inevitably, every one of them will get back to you. Not straight away, but they'll get back to you and go, oh, thanks, Turts, having a 6. Thanks, Turts, having an 8. Thanks, Turts, having a 10. And they'll all say, what about you? And then I'll tell them mine. And now if I'm having a shit day or they're having a shit day, we end up ringing each other. So the power of that, and because of Mark's story, just cemented the fact that what we were doing was the right thing.
Yeah. And there's a lot of those stories, isn't there, around, you know, the achievement and the impact that mates made. And, you know, there's a few of those stories about how people have helped each other and how mates have helped each other. And yeah, we've got a few on the line now. So
yeah, I see this question there from AB. AB is one of our board members, and he asked, what did he say? He says, have you listened to the first show, and you know how it's evolved now? Yes, AB, I have listened to the first show, and I try and limit the ums and ahs to about 50 versus 170. I'm swearing more, clearly, because my mum rings me every morning and says, you have to stop swearing, Craig. You have to. And to Viv, who's my neighbour, who I have to apologise to every time I see her walking her dog down the street, I'm sorry, Viv. You're right. I do have to stop it. And I am conscious of it. But the only thing I can say, and I say this to Mum every Wednesday, this thing's called, you know, Mate to Mate 8. It's open, honest, raw, and real. And I'm no different doing this show than I am out in the street. And that's something I'm really proud of. And I really wanted that to come across. And I've had mates of mine go, gee, mate, you probably need to tone it down a bit because you're actually no different. You probably need to be more professional. I'm like, this is not a professional show. This is about asking real questions to real blokes and getting real answers. So we haven't stepped away from that the whole 30 weeks, have we, mate?
No, that's right. No, I think we deliberately, we toyed with different ways we do it, and podcasts and a lot of different ways, or slick video productions and, you know, cutting it up and, you know, curating it into a nice 15-minute, you know. But we're like, no, let's keep it raw and keep it open and honest, and let's just see what happens. And, yeah, it has gone from, what did we say, 26 minutes to, I think last week with Ash was 90 minutes. So, you know, but again, they're all good stories, and you know, we want to let people tell them. So
I think the other thing, we kept going because the amount of people that would send in questions like they are tonight and comments, like if you've got people watching, you have to honour that. And we had some amazing questions asked by, you know, people. And then now there's I won't give surnames, but this guy Aaron, who's watched plenty of times, sends in questions every week. He's an unbelievable individual too. I've had a few chats with Aaron, and he's a great bloke. And I know he's written something there pretty long. Do you want to have a read through that? Just read that out.
Yeah, so this is a message from Aaron now. So Ed's chat with Turts was the first mate to mate that I watched. To see Ed at his lowest point and to see where he was 10 weeks later gave him hope. So that sense of hope helped him immensely to stay here. So that video got me through some very dark minutes, hours and days, simply because I could see that there can be a time when I will be out of my dark headspace. And once again, in the light, thank you for all the videos that I've watched from time to time. And since I've looked forward to it each week, they've helped him. So hope you don't mind me sharing that, Aaron. But yeah, look, and for us, that's huge inspiration to know that we one person or two people or whatever it is with this simple little concept is really great for us. And we're hoping that even if we don't do these videos for the next few weeks, we can stay connected with everyone here and find some way to help. So that was the other one, Turts, was around the partnerships and the so we interviewed a lot of people throughout this session that are doing a lot in the sector and that our members can now connect with or get involved with somehow. So do you want to mention a few of those around different sort of people in the mental health sector?
Yeah, we interviewed four of these guys. Phil Robinson, who's a fantastic man, a really good mate of mine, runs a men's health organisation too called Saving Brothers, who do amazing work. And we're looking at partnering up with them early on in the new year to do a function that we'll talk about in coming weeks. Also there, Chris Lysett. Chris Lysett's story, his video is incredible. How close he was to not being here. And he now gives back in the mental health sector. Runs a foundation called Right Mate. Does a huge amount of work, particularly in the Geelong region, where I know for a fact they're having a lot of issues down in that neck of the woods. So he's a great guy. Actually meant to send Aaron a link to Chris's site, so we'll do that later. I'll give Aaron a call.
And just connecting down there, like that's a great example. Like they do the man walk down there twice a week at the moment, where people can just connect. And I know we're looking at doing man walks and stuff down in our area in Melbourne, but there is lots of stuff out there. I think that was the key message we found through it. Out there's just some great little and big organisations doing some great stuff to help others. So look up Right Mate and connecting with the others. Pete Lincoln was the other one down the peninsula. Yeah,
Pete Lincoln is an AMBO by trade, has been for years, and just set up a Peninsula Golfers Anonymous, the PGA. I don't know how we didn't end up in court over that, but anyway. And he runs this for all current paramedics and their partners, because it's a really, really tough job being a paramedic with PTSD and the hours and what they have to go through. So he started this golf group, and there's about 65 or 70 blokes that go and girls as well that go and do this. And early next year, we're going to partner up. We're going to take a whole crew of 100 Words Mate to Mate guys, and we're going to go down there and play, and they're going to host us, and really looking forward to that. We've had some great talks with Anthony Brown and Pete about putting a day together. So once we've got the date, now that we can move more freely, really looking forward to getting involved with those guys. They're doing a ton of work down there. And the great Lawrence Hayden. Lawrence Hayden is a 77-year-old man who's been a psychologist all his life. He was the sports psychologist of the America's Cup, the winning America's Cup team all the way back in 1983, which makes me 10 and Waltsy about 3, because I'm a lot older than Waltsy. So he probably doesn't remember America's Cup. I do. And he's done a huge amount of work for us. We've had, through this show, this is really important for those to realise, through this show, we've had 11 men go and see Lawrence, who's a trained psychologist, and he sees all our members for free, okay? Up to 20 sessions a year the government will give, and he bulk bills and he gives them for free. Now, of those 9 guys who have seen Lawrence this year, of the 11, 9 of those guys, it's the first time they've ever gone and seen a mental health professional. Now, I had a conversation with one guy, and he was umming and ahhing. I said, "Is it the money?" He said, "Oh, He said, how much is it? And I just said to him, it's $100. How often should I go? I said, once a month. $1,200. Yeah. I said, you spend more than that on your car. You should do it. Yeah, right. Yeah, okay. And I think he was just doing it just to get me off his back. I said, what about if I could make it free? Oh, you can't make it free. What about if I could? Would you do it? Well, I'd go more. Okay. Ring this number. Ring Robin, who's an unbelievable person. And sure enough, he went. And he's like, I thought you were joking. Went and got a mental health plan, saw Lawrence, I think 12 times. Had never seen a mental health professional ever in his life. Never got a mental health plan. And he's a different man today than what he was, all due to this show. So it's things like that we would find that information out, and you and I would share that. And that just kept us going and wanting to do more. And to have 11 guys go, and 9 of which have never been before, we had a couple of guys who would realize they needed to go, make the appointment, drive there, but just couldn't get in. Couldn't go in. Sat in the car and said, it's too much. And would ring me. And so I'm like, that's fine. You've done 3 things you've never done before. You've realized you need to go. You've made an appointment and you've driven there. You've just got one more step. Every one of those guys the week after would ring up, make an appointment, and eventually get out of the car and go in. Once they went in, they were fine, because Lawrence is so good. Now, some of those guys have left Lawrence and gone to other psychologists. That's fine. The fact that they've gone there for the first time because they've watched this show and realized how important it was, and we've reduced the stigma around it. I said to one guy, I've got a mental health coach. He goes, what's a mental health coach? And I told him. He goes, isn't that a psychologist? I said, well, I call it a mental health coach. He goes, I could do that too. Yeah. So he goes. So the stigma behind being I see a psychologist versus I see a mental health coach. If you like those who run a business, if you had a business coach, people would go, yeah, that's a great idea. Business coaches are great. The difference between saying I see a psychologist and I see a mental health coach, just try it. Totally different. So
that's right. And it's that stigma, isn't it? And we've had people like Dan Burgess and those sort of guys on who do that life coaching, and it's just getting people to help. And look, we have had quite a few people through the process and over the 30 weeks who've left us with some really good top tips, like practical things that you can do, even if you don't go to the psychologist or go to a Right Mate or a Man Walk or somewhere else. There's a lot of stuff that we've learned, isn't there, Turts, around how you can help yourself, just some basic stuff that even you and I have picked up. But what were your top ones?
The ones for me, there was this, it was what we learned really early on is there's not one hat fits all, wasn't it?
That was Luke Richards, wasn't it?
Yeah, you've got to try a whole lot of different things and work out what works for you. It's like Luke Richards, right? Like Luke Richards has just swum 7 Ks every day to signify that 7 men take their own life in this country every day. So he's swum 210 Ks over the last 30 days, right? Unbelievable. He took up marathon swimming. And I'm like, could you not find something a bit easier than marathon swimming?
Pretty sure that wouldn't work for me.
No, wouldn't work for me either. Like getting out into the cold Melbourne Bay at Mentone at 5 in the morning, not really my cup of tea. But it works for him. And he knew that if he didn't swim, he would struggle. So he swims. And that's what works for him, okay? Mark Worthington, first thing he does when he gets out of bed is makes his bed. Because the theory is you don't get back in. You've made your bed, you've already achieved something for the day, and you've been awake for 90 seconds. He does that religiously every day.
And that's a Matt Scafidis and Dan Burgess again tip, isn't it? Win the morning, win the day.
My wife wants me to take that one of Wortham. She would like me to make the bed too. But I say, darling, I'm out of bed at 5:30. You're still asleep. If no point making the bed, mate, because you're still asleep. So, but yeah, winning the morning, Danny Burgess and Matt Scafidis, and a few of the guys said this, Berkey as well. Yeah, win the morning. Get off to a good start so that, now Nathan Burke talks about dividing your day, being an ex-footballer, dividing your day into 4 quarters. So, 9 o'clock is quarter time, half time is 12 o'clock, 3/4 time is 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and end of the day is full time. So classic case was if you're 6 goals down at quarter time, so at 9 o'clock in the morning, you've had a shit morning, you've got 2 options. Either you go, you know what, stuff this, I can't be bothered. Today's a write-off and get done by 15 goals or end up having a 2. Or you go, you know what, I just need to chip away and I'm going to put this into place. So I can't do anything about that. So at 9 o'clock, I might be a 4. Park the 4. Okay. What are we going to be between 9 and 12? And just, dissect it into those little bits. And then again, and that works. I swear I do that and it makes a difference. I can't fix what happened prior to 9, but I can make amends between 9 and 12. And the other one was doing that when you get home from work. So if you've come home from work, and I said this to my wife, just when I get home, don't run out, don't send the kids out. I'm okay. But every night I get home, I sit there and I evaluate where I'm at. So if I'm a 4, I shouldn't take my 4 inside. It's not their fault. The kids might be having a great day. Wife might have had a great day. If they're a 9 and I take my 4 in and I walk in, I go, why is this skateboard on the floor and what's with the dog and blah, blah, blah. I'm impacting them. It's not their fault I've had a 4. It's probably my fault. Or I need to work out why I've had a 4. So I was doing that. I was bringing my 4 inside. So Nathan said, park your 4 in the car. And then you've got if you get home at 7, you've only got a couple of hours before the kids go to bed. So he said, try and be a 10 as a dad between those numbers. And when you put your head on the pillow, your day won't be a 4, mate. It'll be an 8. Sure enough. Absolutely. I'll deal with a 4 in the morning, but I'm going to be unbelievable dad and husband between the minute I get home and the minute I go to bed. Absolute simple thing to do. And I guarantee you it works. It was a real game changer for me because I used to come home in a foul mood. Foul.
Yep. And the other one that Nathan Burke used to say is just breathe, didn't he?
Breathe.
Like in terms of just having those calming breaths and
5 in, 5 out.
That's right, and it does make a difference. And there's a science behind it, but it's just
Absolutely.
something that encourages you to stop. And
well, when you have a session with Lawrence would say, "Okay, 5 deep breaths," and you go 5 times, and he would not start the session until you've done it. And if you try to get quick, he'd go, "You owe me 1 more." He just wanted 5. Just give me 5. If you can't do that, you're not listening. So yeah, you do that and stop and breathe. 2 words I've learned a lot. Stop and breathe, which the 2 words I didn't really know.
So what about you, Turts? How have you found the process? Like personally, it's been a big part of your life and my life, obviously, for the last 30 weeks. How have you enjoyed the process?
Loved it, mate. I had no expectations going in. We were probably going to run this for, I don't know, 3 or 4, odds on bugger it up and then stop. But I reckon we were about 5 weeks in. And I remember you and I having a conversation going, this has got legs and we need to continue to do it and we need to make the commitment. And it's a big commitment. Like we're both taking time, there's a couple of hours tonight. There's some research and there's the pre-interview. So it's, 5, 6, 7 hours a week, probably 5, 6 hours a week of thought process, conversations between you and I that go into each show because we want to get it right and we want to make sure that the guest is comfortable. So that's been hard. I know it's been hard on you and your family and certainly at my end. But the outcome has just blown me away. It really has. People's honesty and willingness to open up has just simply blown me away and just inspired me. And I know it's inspired you to just do more. Now, we don't get time to do. I'd love to give the painting away and just do this full time, but due to the fact that this is a non-profit organisation, the pay's not great. But for me personally, and I'd like to hear about you, like this pays me in a totally different way, mate. This is really empowering to watch guys do what they do every Tuesday night.
Well, that's
what
right.
About you, mate?
Yeah, and the same. And look, we've seen it through a lot of these guys that we've mentioned tonight. Your Chris Lydises and your Pete Lincolns and all those guys, Luke Richards, that, helping others has actually helped them. And
Yeah.
I think it's the same with us.
Yeah.
That, this COVID unprecedented time, it's hard to know how to connect. And I think just having a cause that we can get behind, and the mate to mate cause, and this on a Tuesday, I think personally has been able to give us, something to keep us going, keep us interested, keep us motivated, give us an excuse to connect with these great people that we're meeting every week. So I would encourage, and I know we're going to touch on it later, around the value of volunteering and helping out and helping your mates. But it's you don't want to pitch it as a selfish thing, but helping others is actually helping you as well. And we've seen that time and time again. Yeah,
no doubt. It every week, as I said, I write notes every week, and every week you learn something new every week. Just on Andrew Barrett, being a bit of a smart ass, any plans of getting a leather couch style David Parkinson style interviewing? No, AB, it's not. Okay, we just like to come to my spare room here and just do it real. Okay.
I think if it was Turts, AB, it'd be more like a David Parkins style interview where Turts just
yells abuse,
yells coach style at me.
Yes, and good to have you on board too, Mr. Andrew Barrett. Smart ass.
But look, I think on that point, we would be really keen for feedback at some point of what next year's look like, and what other. Obviously, this was to stay relevant during COVID and lockdown and keep people going while we couldn't get out. But I think again, there's some value in some online content in the future, as well as some face to face. So we're really open to ideas. I reckon if you want to. If we get enough votes for a David Parkinson style interview, AB, I think AB would work well on a couch. What do you reckon?
He would, yeah. I'd love to
he can host it. I think he could host it. Yeah. He might be angling for your position as host. Turts.
Oh, I reckon about week 6, my sister wrote in. It was when we interviewed Alex West, Dr. Alex West, and she said, "How about we get rid of Buggerlugs and we'll get Alex on board?"
And that's actually, sorry.
Go for it.
I was just going to announce. I think we haven't actually put this out on the socials yet.
No, we haven't.
That's actually one of the key things, and there's a list of them that's come out of Mate to Mate and our connections with all these different people that we've interviewed. So Dr. Alex West from Vic Police, chief psychologist there, ex-Richmond Footy Club. She's now officially, at our AGM last week, she got voted on to the 100 Words board. So she's now a 100 Words Mate to Mate board member. We're all volunteer community members, but that's an exciting sort of partnership to, again, have someone with her clinical credibility that can advise on how we can help best and where we should put our efforts in terms of, mental health.
Just quickly on Alex, she's been working as one of the head psychologists at Richmond Football Club over the last 5 years, and we all know what's happened there, the amount of change that's happened there. She's worked in prisons with the worst male prisoners this country has to offer, and she's dealt with them. And she's written, or in the middle of writing, the paper for the mental health plan for the AFL, and does a lot of work for the Richmond AFLW, and has been the chief psychologist for the Victorian Police for the last 10 years. An amazing woman, dear friend of mine, and we are privileged to have someone of her credibility on the board. She's an absolute star. So.
Yeah. And look, I think the other bit throughout all of this and through our partnerships is we've connected with a lot of great organisations, and many of them guests on this. So I think, and a lot of these we're still in discussion. Now that COVID's over, we can start planning things for next year. But, even Adam Douglas with Health Breaks, I know we've been in talks with him for a while about how we can work with him. We had Anthony Rocker last week, who works at Vita Fitness. So we've got a partnership with Vita, and you spoke to their staff last week, didn't you, Turts? And we're planning an event for February.
Yeah, we did a presentation to Kane and Vinny and Anthony Rocker and Paddy Haydos down there, and to their staff. And they're such a really progressive company. So all their staff members, I think, are 75 staff, and they're all in that bracket of 15 to 44. which is the biggest killer of men in this country. So they are so progressive in their thinking. They just want to be there for their staff members and all their many members, which is in the thousands. So to be able to be associated with guys like that, and I know a few of them on tonight, and super proud for us to be involved. They're a ripping bunch of blokes. And yeah, you're right, Waltsy. We've got an event, I think it's on the 3rd of Feb. That may change with Tennis Australia. Anthony Rocker's going to be one of the guest speakers, Sam Groff, and we're working on one other. So that might depend on when that is, but we haven't locked that away, but we're pretty close to doing that. Who else we've got?
So the
Builders Academy.
Builders Academy. Yeah, they donated $5,000 to us. It was amazing.
Yeah, they donated $5,000 about a month ago. Andrew Shea, he's an absolute wonderful man, he sponsored our Mitcham event over a year ago, and we've been in contact, and they won an amazing award for the service that they supplied to the building trade. And yeah, to donate $5,000 to us was huge. They're looking at, so as a tradie, and this is dear to my heart, as a tradie in this country, and this is fact. As a tradie in this country, you are 10 times more likely to take your own life being a tradie in this country than any other industry in the country. So that's quite staggering. So you put that stat in with the stat between 15 and 44. Think to yourself, how many tradies do you know between 15 and 44? I know a truckload. So they're really, really high risk, and Builders Academy and a partner with 100 Words Mate to Mate, we are going to make a difference, particularly to those young tradies coming through. So we're really, really excited about working with those guys. Health Breaks, huge, awesome. Dougie there does an amazing job. Really looking forward to working with him. And just setting up new local networks in the area, aren't we, mate? You're probably the one all over that.
Yeah, and there's some great models out there. Like we've touched on Chris doing man walks down in Geelong. We're really keen to do one. Parkrun, Luke Nelson. I think we talked about our Mate to Mate Fit Club. Luke Nelson's volunteered to help us run a weekly run, in a couple of different areas. We had Trav from Kokoda Crossing on. We're still hoping we'll get to Kokoda in September for a 100 Words trip to Kokoda. And there's probably some others, actually. We're in talks with a few other sort of hikes and outdoor, getting guys together outdoors in groups, fitness. There's so many good benefits with that sort of stuff. So
it's just the training, the mateship in the training, isn't it? Like we were training for Kokoda and met a whole lot of different guys we'd never met before. And it was awesome. The training was the real key.
Well, that's right. And I think I'm looking forward. I don't know if I'm allowed to announce it, but we're looking at doing Hut to Hut, which is in February, which is a 100K walk with a small group of us. But I definitely need to get into the training, drop the old COVID kilos. I think there's a few of us in that same boat. It's a good excuse to get out and about and get healthy again.
Absolutely.
And so I think the whole point of 100 Words Mate maybe is really around that, getting guys to connect. So we don't actually mind it doesn't have to be walking or activities. It could be anything really. So I think that's really the next stage for us, and next year, isn't it, Turts, around what we're excited. How we can get back together in person. We're keen to have some more events, have some more regular connection activities. And yeah, we're really looking for volunteers of people. I know there's a lot of great people who are wanting to give back, and we've already connected with a few of them around, let's set up a local walk or a local whatever all across the country. So I think that's the next stage, and we're really keen to hear from anyone who wants to get involved or, thinks there's some value in doing something in their area as well.
Yeah, I think that goes back to your point. Like, just doing this for us has helped us by helping others. And to get involved is that there's so many guys who are on the screen there with the questions, and you've got so many skills that you can make a difference. You probably don't think you do, but trust me, you do. I paint houses. So if you can paint a house and make a difference, you can do anything and make a difference. And I think that's one thing that I'm really proud of. We've got landscape gardeners on our board. We've got IT gurus. None of us, apart from Alex now, is formally trained in men's mental health. We're just blokes donating our time, and the difference that it's made to every member of our board And anyone that's ever come to one of our events, I cannot wait to start having more events next year, so that all these people that have jumped on through this series can come. There's a few of the guys that have been to an event, but those guys who are new to 100 Words Mate to Mate, I cannot wait to have these guys at events and then put faces to names. We had lots of phone calls, but it'd be nice to put a face to a name.
Yeah, that's right. Just one point though, I still think there's some value in some of these online events. I think Meet to Mate's been a really good example. I don't know. I think a few of the guys online, there was a comment there from Paul, I think, around Meet to Mate, about how you can still have an impact where, I don't know, do you want to tell the guys your experience through the Meet to Mate, which is an extension of this, but partnering in with Josh from Glenferrie Gourmet Meats?
Yeah, so the theory behind that was, where's the most comfortable to get guys to open up, like we have on Mate to Mate at 8, is to get them somewhere comfortable. Now, we sort of had a coffee and thought, gee, where's the most comfortable place for a bloke? I don't know, maybe the barbecue. Inevitably, we've all been in a situation, walk into the house, all right, babe, see you later. Wife goes over here, bloke just goes straight out, parks himself next to the barbecue and knows that he's not allowed to touch anything. Okay, well, I know they're the rules when you come to my place. So we've run this meet, partnered up with a dear friend of ours, a foundation member of 100 Words Mate to Mate, called Josh Nielsen, who runs Glenferrie Gourmet Meats and Vermont South Gourmet Meats. So he puts this pack together. It's $40, 400-gram porterhouse steak, which is like that thick and about that bloody big, 4 chicken wings for entree. It's got a baked potatoes, garlic mushrooms, and what am I missing? Corn on the cob. There's 12 condiments that come with this thing. It comes in a cool little, I should have a pack here, a cool little esky that fits 6 cans in, so you can take it wherever you go. You can buy an apron for another $20. And all we do is we come on and Josh will tell you how to cook this steak to perfection every time. Okay? And then once we've got your attention while you're sitting there, eating this amazing meal that you've just cooked at your house, then we start talking about 100 words and, Mate to Mate at 8, and how's your day out of 10. And some of the stories, we've done this for the last 8 weeks. Last week was incredible. We had guys come on, and that the whole thing is being sponsored by Leaf Top Garden and Property Services. Steve Addison and Mac are there, help organise the Mitcham event, and they just jumped on board, donated $1,000 to the cause. So all the money we've raised nearly $6,000. All that money was going to put men through mental health first aid courses. So we'll probably get 30 guys through the courses, which is just a huge thing to be able to do. So every dollar we raise will go through to getting men educated, which we think is a fantastic thing to do. And we're going to run those next year. We can't run any in December, but we're going to run those next year for sure. They were a winner. That was seeing guys open up just on the screen. Like last week, we had 28 guys on the screen, and some of the stories were phenomenal, and how guys just opened up because they felt comfortable. So that was a real win for us.
Yeah, and I think part of it is, again, empowering people to say, you actually don't need, and no offence, Turts, you don't need Turts or Josh at Gourmet Meats to do that stuff. And so it's part of, and all this, it's modelling how you can just connect with your mates, and so you don't need us necessarily to do that. So, but if it helps, then, we'll obviously keep doing it.
So I've just seen there, Damien, he won't mind me saying this, Damien Gooden, who's an absolute, I met Damo the other week. So one of our members had 14 of his mates, paid for 14 of his mates to come to Meet the other week. From there, one of the boys was Damien. From there, Damien last week bought two of his mates, okay? Had an open conversation. They were up until 1:30 in the morning. From there, one of those blokes for this Thursday has invited 4 guys. So from one guy doing it, affects 3, affects another 4. Like from there, and someone in that group will be affected by what's happened, and they will open up a conversation. And Damo said to me last week, we've stayed up until 1:30 in the morning talking about stuff, and they'd been mates for 20 odd years, these blokes, and they talked about shit they'd never talked about. Why? Because they felt comfortable. And all they had to do was ask each other, how's your day out of 10? It's a really, really simple way. For those who haven't tried it, I know plenty of you have, but those who haven't tried it, I can't give you too many guarantees in life. apart from paint, will fall off if you don't undercoat. That I can give you, but try it. It will work. And we've had people each and every week talk about that and how it has worked.
Just a little plug. I actually think there's still a few tickets left for this week's Meet to Mate. So it's an online, so you can obviously do it anywhere. I hope we're not too late, are we, Turts? I'm not sure exactly when it closes, but
I have to check.
Look, if it has closed, again, you just buy your own meat and log on. Do you know what I mean? Like, or do your own thing.
Yeah, we'll do it in January again.
Yeah.
So,
well,
mate,
hopefully we can
sign off, we'll just get through a few more of these. Can you read those from Mark, Robin, and Paddy?
I was going to say there's a couple from Russell saying Mark Worthington's story of being on the edge and nothing more than a call from a mate saved his life. It's the whole point of 100 words mate to mate. Totally agree. And he's still waiting for a game of tennis with Grossi. So I think he might that's Russ.
Is that Russ?
We should actually call out Russ because he's
yes.
We've got a video, speaking of COVID, what you do in COVID, virtual sim car racing. So Russ has got this beautifully 100 words branded NASCAR or race car that's fantastic. So we'll show that on the socials. Yeah, it's just a little thing that helps raise awareness for this cause. And if it starts one conversation, then it's all worth it. So good on you, Russ. And there's a lot of others that are getting involved. So Turts, you had another comment?
Yeah, that there's three there. The one from Robin, Mark, and Paddy. You better read them. You know what'll happen if I read them.
Well, there's one from Mark saying, I will fly down from Gold Coast and join an event. But I'll say back to you, Mark, hopefully you won't need to. Hopefully we can run an event up in the Gold Coast. I know we have already had discussions with your Eds and your Dave Holmes, and we've got people up in Brisbane and up in the Gold Coast. I think I would put the challenge to anyone to say, look, if you want something in your area, one, we can do it virtually if you want to, but let's have a conversation. Come and chat to us. If you're happy to help us organise it, then we're keen to have one anywhere. So I think I'm looking for an excuse to go to the Gold Coast. What about you, Tess?
Oh mate, now the borders are open. I don't think we've got time before Christmas, Walty, but early in the new year we can get up there, and so stay seated, Mark. We'll go there. Now I had a chat to Mark today. Mark reached out via email, and was struggling a little bit. He won't mind me saying that. And I had a chat with him today, and he's an amazing man who is open and honest and raw, and he's watched a couple of these. The chat today I think really, really helped him. And mate, I know you're watching. May you just ring me and I will stop whatever I'm doing and talk to you, because you're a hell of a man who's worth listening to, mate. So on behalf of myself and everyone here, we've got your back, buddy.
Thanks, Turts. And look, I think I can speak on behalf of most of the people here when to say to thank you. I know you spend a lot of your time volunteer. Obviously, you don't get paid by 100 words. Just calling people, helping out. You're not a mental health professional, but you do what you can, and you're open and you're helpful, and you're one of the most giving people I know, Turts. So just want to thank you on behalf of everyone here. I think you've had plenty of thanks from others, but I think it's a real credit to you, and thanks to your family and for your time to really just give back to everyone here, and just know that someone cares, and you're always there if anyone needs you. So appreciate that, Turts.
Oh mate, and you too, mate. I know we would speak probably every day. I speak to Waltsy more than I'd probably do my beautiful wife. And look, mate, those things are really nice to hear, but it's people's ability to open up and that just give you the inspiration to keep ringing people, and it just works. Like Mark today, that was a great. We spoke for half an hour. I don't know Mark from a bar of soap, but he reached out and would be remiss of me not to take the call and just talk and listen. It didn't cost me a thing. I was just sitting in my car driving home. And it's guys like Mark that just inspire you to do more and help in any way you can. And we say this every week. You do not have to be educated to be able to help. You just need to be able to ask questions, just shut up and listen. That's all you need to do. And, yeah, mate, you stay.
And I think that's
Mark's coming down.
No, and I think that's the key. I think for all of us, we need 1,000 Turts out there. Do you know what I mean? I know he's one of a kind, but you know, he can't help everyone. So I think
that's
it's
a very annoying a lot of people, Matt. You know that. Careful what you wish for.
But hopefully that's the message here for a lot of these guys or girls on the line, just to say, you know, you don't have to be a professional to help. And yeah, if everyone on the call tonight can do a quarter of what you're doing, or you know, one call a week, then I think we're going to be able to make a difference. So
yeah, mate, it's been huge. And you know, to Robin, thank you to Robin. Someone like Robin looks after all the appointments and keeps Lawrence Hayden, our psychologist, in line. And the comments that I get, so as I said, we've sent 11 people to see Lawrence. And I think by about week 2, they go, I'm happy to go and see Robin because she's so down to earth and she just makes them feel so comfortable. It makes their journey to go, particularly for the first time, such a more open and welcoming experience than what it could be. And so Robin won't admit this, but she's a huge component of how comfortable men feel when they rock up to see Lawrence. So to you, my friend, dear Robin, thank you for everything you do. You are an absolute star, and I've seen the outcome of your work, and it's phenomenal. So thank you to you, my dear friend. We couldn't do it without people like you, Rob. I mean, you do a huge amount for us.
And there's actually a really good point by Callie around it's not just men, but it's women as well. So I know
Absolutely.
Robin's one, and you know, Alex, and there's a whole heap of others. But yeah, I think we're all in it together. And I think you and I went to a session, and Chris Lightis actually came as well, where it was around mental health, and it was around, you know, there were lots of women there, and the women were going so that they could help their brothers and their dads and their, you know.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, we all need to sort of chip in together, and we found talking with wives, and yeah, there's been a lot of stories that we've seen around it's the wives that pick up the problems and save a lot of the guys that we've had on. It's been their wives that have picked up that something's not right.
So I had this conversation with the Vita presentation the other day. One of the girls on, one of the staff members asked, how can women get involved and how important are women? And I said, women are a huge driver for men's mental health for this reason. They can see what's going on, and inevitably they know their partner does not want to talk to them about it for reasons of embarrassment or not wanting to, you know, the sense of losing their manhood. So inevitably, in every event we have, there's roughly 15 to 20% of people who book are wives, girlfriends, and partners who book on behalf of their partner or husband or brother or father. Okay? That happens all the time. We get emails all the time. How can I get my husband involved? Don't send the email to my husband. He's useless. Send it to me. He's useless in regards to, let me clarify that. He's useless in regards to the fact that he doesn't check all his emails. Okay? So they can sense what's going on. If you are watching this and you can sense something's going on with your husband, boyfriend, partner, dad, son, nephew, cousin, whatever, get them onto this, okay? And we will help to the best of our ability. It's really important that you encourage them to go and get them. Inevitably, this is what happens. A wife will say to another wife, or a girlfriend will say to another girlfriend, can you please get your husband or boyfriend to take my husband or boyfriend to that event? And that happens. And when it does, let me assure you, it is such a powerful thing, because we've had numerous stories happen where guys have stood up out of nowhere and told the deepest, darkest stories to guys they've never met because their mate has taken them to that. I could sit here for the next 10 hours and tell you story after story after story. Okay. And when we do have these events, okay, and we start walking around with an open mic, you will see it, witness it. It is the most moving thing that we've ever done. So that's one of the things we're really proud of. Some of the stuff and the emotions that we've been able to drag out of people over the last 30 weeks has been great. And then we've helped a lot of people, and they in tune have helped those who have watched. Okay, and that's the feedback we've got. So we wrapped it up for this year, but fair to say, although I haven't had negotiations with my gorgeous wife yet.
That's right.
I might get you to do that for me, Walty, please.
That's right. But you're right. So yeah, I think we better wrap up. I'm keen to let Ash keep the record actually for the longest session. So I think we'll let him get that record, and we'll wrap up. But yes, promise we'll be back. And in the meantime, we will put the call out for anyone who wants to connect. Do via socials, or you've got our emails, or most of you have got Turts' mobile number. Just let us know. Just let's have a conversation. Let's grab a coffee and see if what we can do. You know, what you and your mates can be part of this, or how you can help if that's something that will help you. Or again, if you need help, then we can connect you in with Lawrence or whoever. So I think that's the key from us. So I'll let you in time-honored tradition, Turts. I'll log off and I'll let you wrap up.
Don't log off. Don't you just stay there. You stay there, please. I know what you're like. Hey, just a couple of thanks. I really want to thank. I'm not going to give surnames, so don't panic. I really want to thank Lee, Aaron, Paddy, Russ, Kane, Ash, Ed. You all know who you are, Tony. Guys have watched this and have made a real difference to me personally, through being so open and honest with me. And I really have felt a connection with these guys that is deeper than just mates. And I really, really mean that. Like, we've been able to help each other. This is so therapeutic for me, and I know it is for Walty as well. And that's one of the byproducts of this. This is really, really good for me to be able to do this, and it makes me a better version of me. And I could not have done it. The reason this thing is so successful, okay, is this man on your screen. He is an unbelievable human being who just gives his time and time and time. You get to see me on the screen every Tuesday, but this does not happen without Walty, okay? He is the brains trust behind this. I cannot turn my computer on. For the first 15 weeks, Walty had to come to my house and sit opposite me so I didn't stuff it up, and taught me how to do it by myself. And I've been a big boy now for probably 15 weeks. So, mate, all credit to you. Thank you so much for, we went to the board with this idea, which we were just going to do anyway. We said we're going to do it, so you better give us the tick off. And it's been so good to share this time. Your and my relationship, we've only known each other really for 2 years. And, mate, what we've gone through and what we've created here, mate, I don't want to sound patronising, but I'm super proud of you, and I'm super proud of what we've done here. With the support of the board, it's been great. So, mate, I couldn't have done it without you, and I wouldn't have done it with anyone else. And I just want to say a huge thanks to your beautiful wife, Susie, who is the best dancer I've ever seen. Susie, I know you can't hear this, but thank you so much for letting us have Matt for the amount of time that you do. You're an amazing lady who is so invested in what we do, and you're invested in your husband and allowing him to give the time that it takes to put this all together. So, Susie, I know you're not listening right now, but I will send you a text message, and I just want to say thank you, Susie. You are an absolute star, and thank you for letting us have Matt. To everyone else, all the people that have come on, to our sponsors, Shelley from Splice Communications. We love Shelley. We catch up with Shelley just before Christmas because we haven't seen her for so long. Matt Atkin from Atlas Brokers does a huge amount for us. Thank you, Matty. To Brett Phillips from the First Serve does a huge amount for us and the tennis community. I'm putting my glasses on because I will not miss anyone. To my dear Lily, who's my nearly 12-year-old daughter who, without Matt, I had to put my big boy pants on and do all the tech. Thank God she was here. She's 11. She knows far more than I do, and she was able to help me each and every week. So big thanks to Lily. She'll get a kick out of that. And
I'll flag just while you're probably about to thank your wife. There's obviously a couple of board members as well. Rich, I know, has done a lot, doing stats every week, and we've also got the sponsors. Brett Phillips from First Serve, and I think your sister was also another one that sends in messages every week. So
yeah. Look, Lou, my sister, is a huge advocate for what we're trying to do, and fair to say, she gives me some pretty harsh criticisms most Wednesdays. So Wednesday's not a great day for me. My mum's on me for swearing, and my sister's at me, but she got a lot out of it, and she's passed a lot of that on to her, all the men in her life, which has been great. But to my beautiful wife, who I'm an annoying pain in the ass, it's fair to say. But my wife puts up with me, and she knows how important this is to me. And she allows me to dedicate a lot of time to it. And I am internally grateful to you, babe. Thank you. Thank you so much for letting me do this. It takes away a lot of family time with the kids and from her, and she's selfless for enabling me to be able to do this, and it does. It makes a difference to me, and I just want to say thanks. And those who know my wife knows that I've overachieved beyond belief, and I know I have, and I love you, babe, and thank you so much for letting me do this. I hope negotiations for next year go smoothly, because I really do want to do it next year, because it means a lot to me and Walts. I will not do this with anyone else. So please sign on for next year.
Well, yes, I think this is only the beginning. So whether it's this or you're in some other format, hopefully some in person where we can. But I think it's fair to say there's plenty more to come.
Yeah, thank you to everyone who's watched. Thank you for everyone who's on. Comments, wonderful. Thank you. And as Aaron has just said, everyone have a great Christmas. It's been a pretty ordinary year, but we can all find a positive in it somewhere. Think about that positive. Think about the amount of time you spent with your family that you otherwise wouldn't have had. I hope everyone has a really, really safe Christmas. And I hope that we will see you back. We are endeavouring to make a difference. I know we are. So we will see you next year. And I hope tomorrow's a 10 out of 10 for you. And I hope the rest of the year is at least an 8 out of 10. And just do me a favour and do Waltsy a favour and just ask your mates how they're going out of 10. As I said, I can't guarantee you too much, but I know this works, and so does Waltsy, and we believe in this. So just go out and do it. It'll make a difference. You don't know how powerful a phone call and being able to listen, what difference that can make. So on behalf of me and the great man that is Matt Walton, who I love, I'll see you tomorrow, Waltsy.
Thanks, guys. Hope you have a 10 out of 10. Thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Turts.
Thanks, everyone. See you later.
See ya.